David Villa should, in theory, be playing many more games in the A-League. He's got a lovely little beard, lovely little goals. We're going to see lots more of him, aren't we?
No, not necessarily. I mean, obviously he's signed to play for New York City FC when they start their life in MLS in January or March when the season starts. So he's been at Melbourne City to sort of, I don't know, to keep himself sharp, much like Frank Lampard is at Manchester City. I think the rules in the A-League are you can play 10 games as a guest player, so Melbourne would have been hoping for that full 10-game stretch, and it's like he's gonna head off after 4.
It's a bit gutting. Our fans are seemingly outraged about this. Is that fair? Are they right to be annoyed? Or should they just be grateful that they had him in the first place?
No, I think they've got a right to be annoyed. I think there's something a little bit lethargic about the whole excuse that he's given, this sort of very vague marketing stroke settling in New York kind of excuse.
Isn't it?
It's a little bit, so it's the kind of excuse you give to get out of like your girlfriend's friend's housewarming or something. It's not really a legitimate way to get out of playing 6 games for a team. It does feel like he can't wait to get out, and that's what some people have been saying. Like I think John Aloisi said, to be honest, it just sounds like he doesn't like it in Australia. Maybe he should just said that rather than kind of come up with this old excuse.
Well, is this creating any ripples across the ponds? Is there some sort of relief that City are going to get him early?
Not really. You've got to realise, I think, that NYCFC, they don't have that much structure still, and we're not that far away from this beginning of the season. So it's been not necessarily that widely reported, really, in New York or in Major League Soccer circles. So it's known, and I think around the MLS Cup is coming up soon, and the playoffs are here, and it's a prime moment in American sports to market your team, market your players. Aside from that, it's not really been talked about too much.
I mean, I wonder whether it's linked to the fact that Frank Lampard recently picked up an injury, and then maybe there's a little bit of panic here. That, we've spent enormous amounts of money to capture these big names, and potentially they might be turning up in a stretcher.
Wrap them up in cotton wool, that sort of thing. I think it's also, something that's interesting that I think a lot of maybe Melbourne fans are feeling is that this is really reflecting their sort of hierarchy in this City group of teams. So you've got Manchester City, Melbourne City, New York City, and a team in Japan as well. And it looks like Melbourne is sort of being used just
bottom of the food chain.
Yeah, almost like a marketing ploy. Yeah, exactly, pretty much plankton, if you will.
That's too much.
I apologise. Whereas you can tell that it's City putting the shots, or New York to an extent, who are kind of getting first dibs on these big players, and so they feel that although they're part of this sort of global football organisation that seems quite unique in itself, they seem to be at sort of the bottom of the food chain, which probably doesn't feel very nice.
No, I bet it doesn't. Let's look at the bigger picture now. So I think we're 3 weeks roughly into the season. What are the headlines, main talking points so far? Who's bossing it?
Well, very early at the moment. We're only I think 2 or 3 games in. There's a 3-way tie at the top. We've got a Melbourne Victory, and Melbourne City's City rivals, joint top with Sydney FC and Adelaide. Well.
Was that Melbourne game? It was 5-2, I think.
Yeah, it was a derby. It was Melbourne Victory against Melbourne City. Villa didn't get on the score sheet, interestingly, and I think City went ahead twice, but then Melbourne Victory turned it around, pumped them. They've got Kevin Muscat as their manager as well. Got a bit of Premier League pedigree there.
Kevin Muscat.
There you go.
But no Emil Heskey.
No,
he's come home. He's after a club. I've officially checked his Wikipedia page. It just says, "Come and get me." No one's got him.
He did quite well though, didn't he, in Australia?
Yeah,
I mean, he was actually pretty decent. Everyone wanted to laugh, but he was actually pretty good.
Take it back. Yeah, he did rack up a decent amount of goals.
We were talking about this just before off air. It's different players in different leagues. Bradley Wright Phillips, for example, in Major League Soccer, Emil Heskey in Australia, maybe David Villa a little bit too. Sometimes these players, they might have a tough run of games or a bad form, whatever it is, in one league, but then they just adapt so well to a different country and it works out for them. So,
although Emil had a very big patch of bad form.
Yeah,
4 or 5 years.
Well,
no, but you're right. Certain type, square pegs in round holes. Every so often it syncs up nicely.
And we kind of mentioned it when we were talking about the IPL. The more leagues that come to prominence and are of a good standard, the more chances there are for players to apply their trade abroad and hopefully see more British talent make that jump to help the national team.